And the final one, he goes, please send me, my heart's burning for Brazil. Look at him and goes, I'm sorry, one leg, we're not sending you. And he gets up on his chair, stands up. He goes, maybe I only have one leg, but I don't see many people with two legs going.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go with my one leg. And he went.
Golly. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Iris Global Green Room. We're going to have to edit out all of Andrew Fanstone's coughing. Yes, his name is Andrew Fanstone. Fanstone.
Fanstone.
What is that?
It's a good name.
Not what I was going for. This is Andrew Fanstone. He's in Brazil with his amazing wife and kids in Fortaleza. It's good to have you on, Andrew.
Good to be here.
Is this what you're going to do?
Answer your questions, yeah.
Just these short British answers?
Yeah, man. It's good to be here. What do you want to say? Mate, let's start again. Come on.
We're not starting again.
Yes,
We're in
come
it.
on. Take two. Go.
No. So how are you, Andrew?
I'm good. Well, I've got a bad cold, but apart from that.
Why do you have a cold? I thought you were a man of faith.
I know, but yes. But I got a cold, but I'm fine. It's good to be here.
You've already said that. I love Andrew, and you guys are watching the awkwardness because this is one of my dearest friends. Absolutely love this man. You're in Fortaleza, Brazil.
Yes.
How long have you been there?
Since 2001.
You got to give me more than these short answers, Andrew.
Well, give me better questions.
Okay.
Like, how long have you been there?
How's your soul?
Why did you get there? Why did you get
How's your soul?
My soul's alive, man. It's so good. It's fun. Seriously, you do this on purpose.
No.
You're thinking, how much can I make you squiggle?
No, you said ask a better question.
Mate, this is really not going to work, is it?
Oh, it's working.
Do you want a mask?
No? Well, maybe.
You got more faith than me,
I
so
do.
it won't touch you.
Okay. Tell us about what you do. Okay, listen. You grew up a little spindly boy asking for more porridge, right?
Yes.
And how old were you when you felt the call to Brazil?
So being called to Brazil, I was probably... Well, I left England when I was 27, but my call was a process. So I can have... I'll give you a long answer.
I
was born in... What?
You have a deep history in missions.
Yeah. So born in Christian family, and you don't realize what a blessing is until you actually look back and see. So like 3 generations ago, my great-grandfather was one of the very first missionaries to Brazil.
Yeah.
And then his son stayed and did amazing stuff in the central Brazil. But me and my family have always been in England. Being a missionary was probably the last thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, just being brought up, Christian family, loving Jesus, gave my life to Jesus at a Billy Graham
Really?
event in London at West Ham Football Stadium.
Seriously? I don't remember you telling me this.
82. There's a lot about me.
82. I was born in 82.
Mate, that's how old I am. So I was like 12. And what was I? Yeah, around that age.
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard, like, I followed my dad around when he used to preach in church. And I knew all the stories, but Billy Graham talked about the prodigal son.
No way.
And I was just listening. And I remember just going near the front crying. Like God's calling me. And so that was when I was 12, and then fast forward. I always went to sort of the Baptist Church of England church.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Toronto blessing happened. This is around 2000. It was my second to last year at uni. So it's around 2004. I'm so bad at dates.
1994, 95.
That's
Toronto
it, sorry.
broke
I
out.
was 93, 96 at university.
Yeah.
So probably 95. And the vicar of a big church in England, Sandy Miller, he went to Toronto, came back, and it was all kicking off in this big posh church right in the centre of London, Kensington.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Harrods on one side, you have where Prince Charles laid down, he lived on the other side, and then you got this big church in the centre of London, very posh, very proper. And there was actually queues going in because people like doing weird stuff, like, you know, roaring like lions, and I was like, this is weird, this isn't God.
See, I've never seen that. And I was around Toronto
Right.
a lot.
In England, it happened.
Okay.
So I was in the newspapers. There was queues to get in, and there's real division. And one of my friends had just written like a thesis on like how he's a clever guy from Oxford University. He was a student there, and he was writing how it's from the devil. So I read that. He spoke to me. I thought, let's check this out. So I walked in, and I was sitting right in the balcony at the back, and I was like just watching this and saying like, let's see what's going to happen. And the service was pretty normal. And at the end,
Who was preaching? Do you remember?
mate, I think that day it was John Wimber.
Really?
I didn't know anything about John Wimber.
In Toronto?
No,
or in
this
the Toronto Revival?
He just visited that.
Okay.
But usually it's like Sandy Miller.
Yep.
And then I think it was the Sandy Miller at the end. He just came, got the microphone and said, "Come, Holy Spirit." And I was like, right, this is going to kick off now. What's happening? And I was right at the back, no one praying for me. And I was just watching, and this hand started shaking. And I was like, whoa. Because I'm quite a shy English guy. I don't want to call attention to myself. And I was like, no one saw that. Wow, what was that? And I was like, that's weird. And when I relaxed it, it started again, but I could control it. And I was in a fight in my mind, like, is this God, Satan? Am I getting weird in this environment? I don't know what it is. But then this thought came, it's like, but if it is God? And I just opened up my hand, and this energy came, boom, boom, was on the floor like fish out of water, flumping around. Everyone moved away. No one had prayed for me. And I was there for like, I don't know, on my own, flopping around in this big posh church in the centre of London. And it felt amazing. Like, it didn't like, but I still didn't know. I remember getting up, went home, went to bed, because I was a good little Christian boy, had my little daily notes by my side, woke up, got my little daily notes that I used to have to do every day for 5 minutes just to be a good Christian. And I opened the Bible, and it was like, whoa. And it was like, you know, the black and white, bit boring, I've got to do it. It was like, it came alive. And I just didn't want to stop reading. And it was like, wow, this makes so much sense. And it's just like, it just came alive. And I remember, wow, what happened last night? I think it could be the Holy Spirit. Because that's his first thing, is to bring the word alive.
Yeah.
And that's where my life really kicked into a different gear. So I finished university, and I was just praying like, God, where do you want me to go? And Leicester, which is a city right in the middle of London, England, like no one wants to go there. It just kept coming to my mind, Leicester, Leicester. So at those days, you like have a A to Z and a telephone book, and I found the hospital in Leicester, rang up, and I said, I'm a newly qualified physio. Any jobs? And they said, strangely enough, a job's just come up today. So I got that job, went to Leicester, and I love being a physiotherapist. Involved in local church, did Sunday school and all that stuff. But then after it, like what you do I used to do physio at the Leicester Royal Infirmary Hospital. Around 4:30, finished work, went home. And I used to share my house with other guys that used to work better, longer hours, better paid jobs. So when I came home, there's no one at home. And I just went into my room every day, got my Bible and spent time with him. And that's not because I had to preach. That was a different world. I wasn't even interested in that. It's just because you love him. And this is where it all starts, in that place where you just, physiotherapist, go home, what should I do? Should I just watch? No. Like, what I don't understand is people say we love Jesus so much, we jump around, sing so many songs, and then during the week it's like tough to spend 5, 10, 20 minutes. So every day just came home and just spent time with him. And that's when you spend time with him, he rubs off on you a little bit. And I remember one day I said, Jesus, give me your heart, break my heart for the things that break yours. And that's the thing that messed me up. That's why most people who know me, they see me crying all the time. And that's from that quiet time in Leicester, just saying, God, give me your heart, break my heart for the things that break yours. And that was around 99. And at that time in England, on the news, lots of street kids happening around the world. Brazil was the big country, so anytime you turned on the news, talked about street kids, I used to see the news and just started weeping, crying. And I was like, what am I crying for them for?
Mm.
Because, yeah, it was a different world away. And God said, it's my heart for them. And so that was the formation. And then as you get more of his heart, like the 9 to 5, day to day, it's like, well, what's the point? I started working some rugby, one of the best rugby teams on the weekends. You get you big famous people that talk about their sports cars and all their women. And they walk in with a big bad toe and you're like rubbing their toe and you think, is this really what I want to do for my life? There's so much more. And I did Sunday school on the weekends. And I remember one weekend, we had a weekend away where all the Sunday school teachers in the Church of England came together and we had a training in Eastbourne, down south. And conference was going on and it was a big conference sitting there and it was good. But it was like, the one session I remember was a big, lovely lady, like typical Sunday school lady, like a big flowery dress, quite plump, teaching us how to tell stories to kids. And she had like toilet rolls and saying how we can make palaces about Pharaoh and talk about Moses and all that. And it's like, that's great, like kids need to know that. But I was like, there's so much more. I don't want to just tell these kids stories that happened years ago. Like this, there's got to be more. And I stood up and I walked out.
How old were you at this time?
So this is 99, so I was probably 26,
Okay.
25, yeah. So I went to my little bed and breakfast and laid in my bed and I just cried out to God, God, you know there's more. You know what's burning in my heart. I want to see more. If you want me to be a physiotherapist and a Sunday school teacher for the rest of my life, that's cool, but you know what's in my heart. You know there's more. And I actually said this, and you shouldn't do this. I said, you shouldn't stand up and walk out, which I did, but you shouldn't do the second bit.
Hold on, why shouldn't you do that?
What?
Like walk away.
Well, you can do, but it's quite nice to, like when I'm preaching, don't walk out.
Yeah,
you listen. But
deal. I agree.
You can walk out of Will services.
All the time, please. It happens.
Yeah. But it's just like, there's more. And I said, God, I want you to speak to me. I was like desperate, speak to me. It doesn't matter what you tell me. I just need you to speak to me. And I'm going to open my Bible and I'm going to do the old finger in the Bible thing, which again you shouldn't do, but it actually worked for me. So I opened the Bible and just like, boom, because I was desperate. And I looked and it was Romans 15. I think it's like 19 to 21. Like that.
Come on, Romans 15.
15, 17, like Romans 15.
Romans what? 15?
Verse 17 to 21, around then. It's like a boom. It's a paragraph.
Romans 15. Therefore I glory. Is that it?
Yeah, probably.
Therefore I glory in Christ Jesus in my service to God. I will not venture to speak of anything except what Christ has accomplished through me in leading the Gentiles to obey God by what I've said and done, by the power of signs and miracles through the power of the Spirit. So from Jerusalem, I'm going. I'm savoring each morsel. No, so from Jerusalem all the way around to, I'm going to butcher this, Illyricum. Thank you.
Read upside down.
I have fully proclaimed the gospel of Christ. It has always been my ambition to preach the gospel where Christ was not known, so that I would not be building on someone else's foundation. Rather, as it is written, to those who are not told about him will see, and those who have not heard will understand. This is why he's often been hindered from coming to you.
So this is that nugget of that pocket was like, this is everything that my heart burns for.
Right.
I want to go where the gospel's not. And I want those who don't see, don't know, don't understand. I don't want to build on other people's foundation. And it's through what I say, through what I do, and through signs and wonders, in the power of the Spirit, many will come to know me. And I said to God, I'll give my life for that. That's the full gospel, the whole gospel. But for what I say, for what I do, through signs and wonders in the power of the Holy Spirit. When you live that together, then many people come to know you. And so I said, okay, God, I'm giving my life for that. And that was the first day of this conference. And early in the morning, like the post had arrived, so I just got the post, put it in bag. And after praying that prayer, I say, God, that's what I'm going to give my life for. I just reached over and got the post that came. And as I got the post out, there was a magazine from YWAM. And I'd never had any like contact with YWAM. I've heard about them, but I wasn't on their mailing list or anything. Just so happened that a magazine from YWAM had turned up in my post box that morning. And I opened up the magazine, and the centerfold page was a year with God working with street kids in Brazil.
Stop.
So I thought, okay, I'm applying. So I applied. Yeah, obviously they accept pretty much anyone. So I got in, and that's how I spent a year in Brazil, working with street kids.
Where in Brazil?
With YWAM, Fortaleza.
Really?
It was going to be in Recife, but then they cancelled it at the last minute. So we were moved to Fortaleza. And so I did that year in Fortaleza. It was like there was a problem with visas, so it wasn't a full year. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I loved it.
So hold on, what year were you in Fortaleza?
Yeah,
was it 99 or 2000?
Yeah, probably 2009.
So I moved to Paraguay in 99.
Right, so yeah, around that time. So we did like a DTS,
Mm-hmm.
and then a year, like the rest was a year just on the streets. And I remember coming back, and I was like keen to go straight back, and God said no, and I started working again. So I went back, got a promotion, and went back working at Leicester Royal Infirmary as a physio.
Yeah.
And then I I did my God swap, and I started investing more in physio, and I was dreaming about being a physio for Tottenham Hotspur, which is my team.
What's that?
Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, which
Say
is...
that one more time, nice and slow.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, they're good. Look them up.
I probably won't do that, but continue.
So yeah, I was doing that. I was working with the homeless in my church, started a homeless ministry, and I was comfortable and happy and doing well, and had my life formed. And then after 2 years, probably 18 months, God said it's time to go back. And I said, I'm not going back.
Why?
Because I didn't want to. My life was good. I had my girlfriend, was doing, being prosperous, helping in church. I was doing everything I wanted. First time to go for a year, it's like an adventure. A year for God, it's going to be fun. But when he called you back without any return date, and you don't have a clue how you're going to support yourself, and it's so easy to just get comfortable, and you're following Jesus, but you want to follow Jesus so he can fulfill all your plans. So I did love him.
Mm.
And I remember, like, it was 3 or 4 months fighting with God. No. But I just knew inside it should be yes, but I said no.
Mm.
Like, gave him all the excuses. Don't speak the language, haven't got a clue. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is happening here. And then again, I went away for a weekend away with my home group. So all this time connected to the local church. And I remember just lying on the floor on my own one day. And just that fight, like arguing, like, God, no, I can't, I don't want to. Like, choose someone else. And then just something came on me, and I became a Christian little boy at Billy Graham when I was 12. But then I became a disciple when I was 27. Because finally at 27, on that floor in the Peak District in England, I said, God, I don't want you just to save you, I want you as Lord. And I want to give you everything. It doesn't matter, that old prayer, it doesn't matter how much it costs, what you want me to do. I'm fully in, take my life, boom. And I died, literally. I could just feel like that giving away everything.
Talk about that for a second.
I think it's just this battle within us. Like, we know what we think God wants, and we think God is a good father and has good plans. But down inside, I wanted what I wanted. And I wanted Jesus, but in a comfortable way and convenient way, in a way that my dreams that I had could be fulfilled whilst doing all the churchy stuff. But this day it was like, no, just take it all, God. I can't keep fighting with you, just take my life. Boom. And then the difference was, like, when I got up from the floor, I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm going to Brazil. And it wasn't like a sacrifice. It was a joy, a pleasure. Because it was no longer me and my life. It was his and his life. And so the joy came. And that, yeah. And I went and stopped everything, gave up everything, and came to Brazil, Fortaleza again. And that's where it all started.
You got some more, homie.
Going.
And I don't think this is going to be last. That's what I love the most about you. I've
Yeah.
known you for how long?
Yeah, a while.
I don't even know. How long?
I don't know.
10, 11, 12 years?
Yeah, from a distance, I think.
From a
Close,
distance?
It's been like 4 years, hasn't it?
What's that?
Close by, like 4 years.
It's been more than that.
5 years.
Something.
Time goes fast.
It does, dude. One of the things I love the most about you is that all the time I've known you, when you talk about Jesus, you weep. My heart is envious of that in your life. How do you keep that? How do you maintain that after all these years of serving, giving your life away, being around abject poverty, pain, hurt,
Yeah.
and you still, how do you maintain that?
Wait, you don't need to touch it.
I don't want to.
The tears have got. I just think there's always such a battle for our attention, our affection. And if we allow our attentions and affections to be shifted away, then we lose that. But if you, I'm always saying, like, Christianity is a lot about how you behave, like about what we do and running around, helping everything. And I was there for lots of time as well. But what we need more about, focus less on behaving, but focus more on beholding. And that takes time. It's when you behold him and you turn your affection and your attention on him and see his beauty. Like, it's hard not to stay like that. Because
Okay, but
he's
obviously,
beautiful.
Say that again?
He's beautiful.
Yeah. Obviously, though, not saying right or wrong, many people, they lose that awe. And there's been times when I have, because life, right? People feel like they've been kicked over and over and over again. Sickness, loss of jobs, whatever it is. And you live in that. You live on the field. You live around chaos. What would you say to somebody watching this that had the encounter in 2000, had the encounter, and now they feel like he's far away, and they're just...
I would say it's because they've lost their attention and their affection. They've let it slip. It's a daily pursuit. It's not like it happened 2000 and get like, and you train yourself to get there. So now it's just so easy just to incline your affections on him. That's what you do. It's just there. You can do it, and it's a lifestyle. It's not a secret. It's not a formula, but it's like just behold him, and that takes time, and you redo your whole daily agenda. So you gaze. I always say gaze before you go. As you behold him, you become more like him. As you become more like him, you start to behave more like him. But we try and behave because we think if we behave, we'll become like him, and then we can see him. But it's the other way around. It's just behold, be still, and know that I am God. Yeah. I will be exalted. So we want him to be exalted over the nations. But the Great Commission starts from a place of contemplation. And that's the hardest thing to do.
Okay, talk about that. The Great Commission comes from a place of contemplation.
So if
I would say the Great Commission, or I would say many people would say the Great Commission comes from a place of accepting the call and going.
Yes. But if you look at Jesus, he always says, like, I don't know where it is in the Psalms, but it is like, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted over the nations. I will be exalted over the earth. So that you'd think like, oh, he's going to be exalted over the nations, he's going to be exalted over the earth. Let's go work, run, and let's get this job done. But it comes from that place of just knowing him first. So when Jesus said, go and make disciples of all nations, if he just said that, the disciples would get a whiteboard out, sit around and start strategizing, roll up their sleeves and say, let's go guys, 12 of us, let's divide up these strategies. But that last thing isn't go, it's wait.
Right.
And so there is this waiting and this beholding, because if you don't see him, my theory,
Give it to me.
and all my theory is very simple.
I want the Andrew Fanstone theory.
Like, why do people not go out and tell people about Jesus?
So can I respond to that?
Yes.
I think fear of man, fear of failure, or fear of death, right? At the deepest of the core, fear of loss. I would say the second would be people don't think they have something to give, right? They don't look at their testimony or their walk with the Lord as something that's worth giving. And probably thirdly, I would say, control, which ties into fear.
Right.
I would say fear.
My answer
I love it.
is because I haven't seen him.
And that's why I love you so much.
Yeah.
You're better than me.
It says, like, wait until you're empowered so you can be witnesses from Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria to the ends of the earth. And this word is witness is basically like a witness is someone who's actually seen it. Like if there's a car crash, I was there, I saw it, I heard it, I experienced it. And so we're meant to be witnesses. And there's so many, like, I always say it's like, I was preaching in my church in Leicester, and I was talking about like my friends, Steve and Catherine, they took me to an amazing Indian restaurant. It was the weirdest place. Like one side it was an Irish pub, the other side
UK's got some of the best Indian food in the world.
And Leicester is the capital of this Indian food.
Let's go.
And the other side was like this Bollywood sort of Indian restaurant, and the portions were big, it was cheap, it was amazing. And I actually mentioned in the sermon, like, we went to this amazing Indian restaurant. And like at the end of the sermon, people just wanted to know the name of the Indian restaurant. But if you see something and meet something and experience something, the most natural thing is
to tell
people. And like, that's what Peter and John in Acts 4, like they healed this guy, and the religious leaders say, I don't want you telling anyone about this name. Don't speak about this name. And what's their response? We cannot help but talk about what we have seen and what we have heard. And like, if we see the beauty of Jesus, if we really have witnessed his voice saying, how I love you, if you really know the King of Kings, the creator God who laid down his life, and seen those eyes of fire, like, you can't not. You can't. But we haven't seen him. We don't know him. We know these YouTube stories, we've read these things, and oh yeah, Jesus is so good. But like, if he was so good, like, I'm the shyest and most quiet person ever.
You actually are.
I am. I'm happy just like in my little hole and just do whatever. But why I would never get a microphone. Like in my physio school, like the teacher came up to me one day and just said, like, Andrew, are you right? I said, yeah, why? She goes, because you just don't talk. And like, as I worked as a physio, I used to like get so embarrassed and red. But now I go around the world preaching. Like, what's that about? Do I want to know? But I can't not tell people about this man who is so amazing. And it's because I've seen him. And when you see him, you want to tell everyone. It's not, I've got to tell. No. And the fear goes. I don't care. I don't care about my shyness. I don't care about, I just need to get it out and tell people how good he is. And it's simple. And so we need witnesses, but before you tell people how beautiful he is, and it comes with a weight of authority, it's because we haven't really experienced his beauty. And he's calling, and you can only do that with time, gazing, beholding. and eyes of our heart to be open to see who he really is.
Can I do a little bit of a
Yes, you're good at that.
of a pushback? Not pushback.
Yeah.
Let's say there's somebody watching us and like, man, that dude is overreacting. He's obviously bold. Like he's a missionary in Brazil. Some kid watching is like, I don't believe that he's shy. Right? Like, or, what would you say to them?
Come and visit. Well, I'm not trying to improve myself at all.
I know
they can say that, but I'm like
I'm
a
more
normal
saying
English person. Like you can see the way I talk. I'm not like
No. Let me catch my heart. Okay, so I'm not saying that as like pushback. What I'm saying is, I think a lot of people, as we've been in ministry for years, right? There's a separation from like where we start to where God has taken us now, right? And I think a lot of people watching they feel like they're in the start grounds, or they don't even know if they're in the starting grounds. And so, what would you say? And you raise up many young people into missions. You're very good at it. You're one of our best trainers. In fact, you've developed our curriculum. What would you say to them that feel just totally like shy? I'm the shyest one. Andrew's not shy. He's on this podcast. Of course he's not shy. He just says he travels of course, like all the justification for why it's impossible. Like, what would you say to them?
I say it's a journey. So like 20 years ago, I'd probably be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a journey. Like I would be the last person that I would send to Brazil if I was God. That was one of my things. Like, why send me, God? I've got anything to offer. And when I arrived in Brazil, I knew nothing. I had no leadership. I was like pioneering.
Yeah.
Within the first 3 weeks there, stuff had happened, and I was like leading a team. I didn't know the language, and it is that process. Like, and God, one thing I've realized is I used to be very focused on the destiny, but it's the journey where God forms you and makes you more like Him. So when the first day I arrived in Brazil to work with these beautiful kids after I gave up everything, I was robbed by a street kid. And I was like, what? So I was because the first night was a nightmare. My room, I had no windows. My fan was broken. I was full of mosquito bites. And I woke up, what am I doing here? So I was going to go to the beach, because Fort has got some beautiful beaches. So I asked one of the missionaries to take me to the beach. So we went to the city centre to get the bus. And as I was waiting for the bus, I saw a little street kid walking towards me.
How old?
He was like 8, 9. His name is Cesar. I don't know him today. And he had glue under his thing, shoes, dirty.
Hold on. You had glue?
He had glue under his T-shirt, so he's sniffing glue.
Okay.
So that's how you know the street kids at that time. Like now they don't use glue, it's all crack cocaine, it's got worse. So I saw him coming towards me, I thought, wow, first street kid. I'm going to talk to him about Jesus, and I can write in my prayer letters at the first day, new convert. And as he was walking, he was looking at me. So I thought I had the beauty of Jesus on my life. And as he got close, he started running and he stole from me. And a guy who was in the city centre saw him stealing, managed to get him, threw him on the ground and started kicking him. And I was like, no. I couldn't speak much. And so the kid was like angry with me, and he got a stone, and he wanted to throw a stone at me and started like xingando, like saying some bad words I didn't understand. And the bus came, my friend pushed me in, and off we went to the beach. And I was like, what am I doing here? Like first day, get robbed, told to get back to my country, and wanting to stone me. And I was like, what's this about? And if it wasn't that call, I can tell you, my love isn't sufficient. I would have got my bag, went back, and asked my job back. But that's why a call, a marking, is so important.
So important.
And yeah, love never quits, man. And then there's this journey. Like I knew nothing about street kids. I knew nothing about spiritual warfare. I thought it was going to be fairly easy. Give them a bath, give them a bit of soap, bit of food. tell them some Bible stories, help a bit of education, we'll sort them out. And I remember within, I don't know, a few weeks down the line, we were in the city centre on the square.
Get your lips, dude.
We're in city centre. And we used to play Uno with them, do first aid, draw pictures, tell them about Jesus. And I was sitting on the bench. My wife, who's my wife now, but then she was just another foxy missionary,
Let's
was
go.
on my left side.
Whoa.
That's another story.
See, you and I have that in common too.
Yes,
Let's go.
we're crazy men.
Soft.
So, and then Francisco, one of the street kids, was here. And then suddenly Francisco reached over and ripped off the watch of Claudia. And I was like, don't do that. Like, we're friends. My language still wasn't very good. I said, Francisco, don't do that. And he goes, my name's not Francisco. And I said, stop joking, Francisco. This is serious. Give the watch. And he goes, my name is not Francisco. My name is Zipelita.
Is what?
Zipelita. It's like a entity there, which I didn't know anything about. And my now wife, she's like, it's a demon. He goes, no, he's messing around. Like, give me the watch back. And then he said this, or the demon through him, these boys belong to me. You'll never get them out of my hands. And I was still like, Francisco, stop messing around. And he reached down, got a stone, and was ready to throw a stone at us. And at that time, the street kids were watching, and they got their stones to protect us, to throw a stone at him. I said, no, leave, go away, leave him. And I started thinking this probably could be a demon. And so I'm 27, I've lived in, like, read the Bible all my life.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a demon. And I didn't really think, I didn't even think about demons, to be honest.
Right.
And I was confronted with this guy. And I didn't know what to do. I just started speaking in tongues. And every time I spoke in tongues, Francisco looked away and lowered. But then whenever I tried to engage him, and so I just stood up, spoke in tongues, and he walked away. And he walked over a big dual carriageway, followed him, and then he walked into a block where there's an abandoned piece of land, and he climbed over the wall and walked into this land, walked about 10 paces, turned around and just looked at me like that. And I was like, shut up, I am Jesus, help please, Jesus. And then suddenly and came back. And when he came back, he walked over to me, and I said, Francisco, you can't steal. Like, where we say tios, uncles.
Yeah.
Like, he stole Claudia's watch. He goes, no, I would never steal your watch. Like, where, you help us. I go, look in your pocket. He goes, no, I haven't. And then he saw it. He goes, what's this? And I was like, I don't quite know, and I tried to give some explanation. But then I went home, and again, I was on my own. I didn't have a clue. But I had my Bible and had the Spirit. And I said, God, I just thought it would be so much, what's happening? I'm out of my depth, help. And a verse came to my mind. I can't remember what it is now off the top of my head. I think it's Matthew 12. And it goes, Matthew 12, and he gave me the verse. And I looked it up, and it goes, if you go into a strong man's house and steal his possessions, you need to first bind the strong man.
Okay, hold on. We're going to go there. Are you okay?
If we can find it, yeah.
You said Matthew 12.
Matthew 12 somewhere. It may not.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay, do you know what verse?
I can't remember. I should have.
Keep going. I'm sorry. I'll see if I can find it.
So it's the verse that says, if you go into a strong, it might even be Matthew 12, I can't remember. But this was like 20 years ago. If you go into a strong man's house.
If I drive out demons by the Spirit of God, the kingdom of God has come upon you.
It's probably coming up after that.
Or again, how can anyone enter a strong man's house and carry off his possessions unless he first ties up the strong man? Then he can rob his house.
Yeah. So when I read that verse, I remembered the demon through Francisco said, these boys belong to me. You'll never take them out of my hands. And so I started to realize, and we're so slow, like, oh, we know it's not a battle against flesh and blood, it's been powers. We know all the verses, but we don't live as we do. And God was just saying, yeah, Andrew, these boys, they belong to this strong man. And you can't just go in and skip along, take them out, and think you'll be fine. First, you need to bind a strong man. And from there on, like, so many stories of demonic encounters with street kids where they could even understand English, and so many street kids trying to be thrown under cars, pulling their eyes out, killing themselves.
Hold on, what? What are you talking about? You said pulling your eyes out.
Yeah, so like whenever they manifest, like there's another one, a funny one. I can tell you all my bad stories.
Give it to me.
We're in the city centre, and this was close near the start as well. And in the end, we usually do a little circle and sing a song and have a prayer before we head off.
This is on outreach.
Yeah, every day we go on city centre streets. And so we did a little, let's sing a song. And as we're singing, one of the street kids, he's got a tattoo of a demon over his heart. He'd killed people. He started singing. And then as he started singing, like this, I don't know what happened, the demon just started manifesting. And so he was like on the ground, like manifesting this demon. He was like, and the demon was like, I'm going to kill him. And he was trying to pull his eyes out. He's going to kill him. And like, this was right at the start. And I just started praying and nothing happened. And this demon was like saying, let me go, I'm going to throw him under a car. I'm going to kill this boy. I hate this boy. I'm going to kill him, throw him under a car, and whatever. And we're praying, nothing happened. And you can imagine a big crowd came up and everyone was watching. And I was there, and it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was like, get out, name of Jesus, nothing happening. And then someone tapped me, this is funny, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, there's a universal church, which is a dodgy, well, I don't know, yeah.
In Brazil. Are they universalist?
No, they
the
focus,
church is called Universal.
Yeah, Igreja
right?
Universal Jesus Cristo.
Yeah. And they focus a lot on deliverance.
Yeah, they focus on money and demons.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like,
not what I would say is the best things to focus on. I like to focus on Jesus.
Exactly.
I don't know the doctrines of the church that well.
Yeah.
Church. But yeah, I remember when I was living there, it was like, my wife was like, yeah, we don't go to that church.
Yeah. And I was the same. Like, they get people demonized and interview them in the pulpit.
Yeah, it's
like,
a little different.
Weird stuff.
I don't like that.
And so someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, there's a Igreja Universal on the corner.
They're known for this.
Take him there.
Mm-hmm.
I go, no, I mean, I'm a missionary. I don't need to take him there. And then, but I couldn't get this thing out. And so I said, okay, let's take him to the church. And the demon in him started saying, okay, I'll leave. Don't take me there. I'll leave. And I said, okay, leave. And he just like laid down as he's dead. I said, you're not leaving. Go, I'm going to take you to the church. He goes, no, okay, I'll leave. And he didn't leave. So I said, let's take him to a church. So we got some guys, we carried this.
So you're saying he was faking, like he left?
Yeah, he tried, like a demon, like it seemed like he was dead. But then when I tried to speak to him, he couldn't come out. And so we carried this guy to the church, all demonizing. And we got him in the church, and one of the workers came. And mate, I was like so impressed at this part. And he just walked up and said, what's happening? I said, I don't know, it's a demon, I can't get him out. And it goes, I bind you now in the name of Jesus. And the demon was on the floor, and then he started like putting his hands behind his back. And like, he said, look at me. And then he started talking to him like, how many demons are in you? I'm not going to tell you, I command you how many demons. And then he said, I command you to manifest. And he did that, and they have these ties that they clip off. And he reached out and pulled his tie off. And then he just said, I bind you again in the name of Jesus. And it was like that. And then he cast him out. And I was just this is like right at the start, and I was watching all this. And I was like, this is what I'm saying, I would never have sent myself there.
Yeah.
And it was just such a learning process. And I thought, these guys have got something that I haven't got, but at the same time I know a lot of the stuff that... And I just started learning about how to work with demonized boys and kids. And we had the most weirdest and craziest experiences. But in the end of the day, like now, I can just look and cast out demons. But it is this process of growth in all that we do.
No, yeah.
And we need to understand that. If you don't go to the mission field because you're not ready, you'll never go. It's in the going that he prepares you.
I love that.
And helps you grow. And if you got the Bible and you got the Spirit, Like, we need papas and mamas to lead and guide. Like, my life would have been a lot easier if I had someone walking alongside me. But I was pioneering in a place that there was no one at that time. So the Word and the Spirit guided me. But now what I want to do is, with people coming through, they don't have to go through what I went through.
Right.
And give them some guidance.
Yeah.
So yeah, can't remember how we got into that one. But
so you live currently in Fortaleza, married. How many kids?
3 kids.
3 kids, and they're incredible.
Yeah, Jessica, Kezia, Noah.
And you ended up marrying a Brazilian.
Yes, Claudia.
Can you tell us about your family for a minute?
Yes. So me and Claudia, we were like best friends in YWAM.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent 10 years in YWAM. And then, so first 5 years we were just friends. Just did everything together. And then something happened. And we got engaged. We started going out for a year, we got engaged, got out, and then we got married. 18 years. And she is amazing.
How did you know she was the one?
To be honest, mate, it's a whole nother podcast. I didn't, because she's always before me. And there was a whole process. Like, we always did we did all the visits together, we laughed together, everyone's saying we're going to get married. And I was like, no. And because we come from very different backgrounds, like her background, she's got the most amazing testimony. My testimony is boring, it's like born in a Christian family. She was like, she was going to try and kill herself several times. She comes from a very broken family on the streets, like all that stuff. And then she was third time going to kill herself. And just as she was going to do that, this man in white walked into her room and did a rainbow with a sword. And she heard the voice say, "Come follow me." And her story is quite funny as well, because at that time she used to wear like short things, and she went to the church and said, "I met Jesus, I want to follow him." And they looked at her and go, "You can't come in here. Look at your clothes. We don't accept people like you." And so she went to a church to try and accept Jesus, but they kicked her out. And then she went, changed her clothes, found another church. And then since that process, she came to Jesus. She's the one that really started the work in the slum that we work in. She used to go and preach all the time to the prisoners, to the street kids. She's this fireball. And then the kids came, and God really spoke to her and said, "Because you've never had a mum to be a mum to you, I'm going to teach you how to be a mum and love what you've never had received love for." So she focused in the season just loving our kids. And our kids all love Jesus so much.
They're amazing.
Kezia was 15, which is a big party. In Brazil, when you turn 15, that's the big one. And all our friends are in these big, fancy parties. And she says, "Dad, for my 15th, I want to go to Africa to work with the kids in Africa."
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like, she lives a life of missions, but still her treat is to go and do missions.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's because we model it and we didn't force it. And Claudia, it's just a natural lifestyle.
I have a theory. Almost all of our Iris Missions kids, like the children of our missionaries, are walking with the Lord. Like, I don't know really any that aren't. Even the ones that are figuring some things out, they're still, like, I'm not worried about them. They're not just going crazy rebellious. And I think it's because all of the parents live without hypocrisy. Yeah. I think that there's something about that. Even in the West right now, we've been raising our kids in America for since they were 1 and 2, at least my oldest 2. And I think a lot of the compromise we see come in with kids, and this isn't across the board, but I think it's when you just do a Sunday faith, right? And you just show up, you do the thing, you go to church. We expect youth group or Sunday school to give the spirituality to our kids. But when you're living a life without hypocrisy, right? You're serving the poor, you're doing the work. I think it's hard for our kids to look back and be like, well, God's not real, right? They might not like him. They might not agree with what their parents have done. They might not like the lifestyle, but they go, my mom and dad are genuine with their faith, and they follow through with it. Yeah. And I see that. I see that in you and your wife. Can you talk to us about Fortaleza when we come back? Because I need to take a quick break.
Cool. Let's do it.
Are you okay with that? So do you.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes, let's go.
And so listen, we'll take a quick break, and we're going to jump back in with Andrew Fanstone. Get down. I want to get into some of the nitty gritty of what you're doing right now in training. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So Andrew.
Yes.
We talked about how you got to Brazil. We talked about marriage. We talked about ministering to the street kids, deliverance. So powerful. I just love that. Thank you for sharing. But I was hoping in this next section that we could hit a little bit about what you do now. You still do all those things. But I've had the great joy and pleasure of walking the favelas in Fortaleza with you and your team. First of all, how many missionaries are in the base in Fortaleza?
Bruno? 25.
Yeah. Well, who's Bruno?
Bruno is the man who leads the base.
Yeah.
So he's I've known him since he's 16, I believe.
Really?
And we've been together ever since. And he's the one that, does a lot of all the hard work.
Come on. Before we get there was one thing I wanted to, and let's start here. Fernando and Natalia, I've had them on. And I would encourage all of you to go back and watch Fernando's testimony, because he talked about you.
Right.
And he talked about the base and Bruno and Herb, but he mentioned you in the testimony. So if you haven't seen Fernando and Natalia's episode, you might need to catch some of the backdrop. But Fernando was living a crazy life. And he said, I asked him, what was the impetus of change? He was living an alternate lifestyle. And he said, Andrew and the team, they just took me in. That was it. They spent time with me. They took me shopping with them. I helped buy diapers for the kids, and he said I was accepted. What was Fernando like when you first brought him in?
Fernando, he is amazing. He's got just so many stories of. He's like our Mr. Bean. If anything could go wrong, it always went wrong with him. And I just remember him turning up the first day in his old car. It's car was hardly moving. I had 4 wheels, but it's he was just this weirdest guy that came in.
Yeah. We're going to put an image of the episode, because I want you guys, if you haven't seen it, to go like this. There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
And so, but he quite early on after his harvest, he did a school with us. I remember during the school, he came up to me and goes, Andrew, I want to go to Europe and tell people about Jesus in Europe and start an Iris base in Europe. And in my body, I was like, oh dear, what's that going to look like? But I'm with you. Let's see how it's going to happen.
I love that. Rewind when he first showed up on the base, because he was a mess.
Yeah. So he was all in. That's what the beautiful thing is. I remember the first night I finished preaching, he came running up to me. And obviously I'd been there for many years. I spoke Portuguese. I preached in Portuguese, but he tried to speak to me in English. And his English was rubbish at that time. He goes, I love this place. I live here. I want to come move here. I said, Fernando, nice to meet. What's your name? But he was, at the very start, he was like, this is what I want to give my life to. And I think what we want with people, and I think what people want, like what he saw in us, was just people who actually lives to a high level of, we can actually change this world. Like when Iris started in Fortaleza, it wasn't a big organization. It was like, let's just be friends that never say no to Jesus, that love him with all our hearts and are willing to give our lives for one another. And it's that purity that I think attracted Fernando. Of like I don't want to go to church and sing some songs and clap my hands. I want to lay my life down for something bigger. And he just saw a group of people that were doing that. And so he was like all in. Whatever we said, he would be there, do that. And that is what attracts us in him, in us in, yeah, that's what I saw in him. Just someone, like, he might not have it all together, but he had this cry in his heart. And if you have someone like that, you can work with them. So yeah, we did life together. He moved in, and the rest is history. And now he's one of the greatest leaders we've sent out from Fortaleza.
And they have a school.
They're going to have a school
in Portugal.
Yeah.
How many bases have come out of Fortaleza School in Iris? Do you know?
No.
Bruno?
But most continents they've been sent out.
Bruno, you know?
7 bases.
7.
Yeah.
7 bases. So that is almost 10% of the bases in Iris have come out of, and that doesn't include people that are out that aren't a base, right?
Yeah,
Which there's a multitude of people that serve on other locations. That's got to feel incredible to know that you've sent people into some of the darkest, most difficult places in the world. What if, as people are watching and they have this dream to go and do missions and serve, what are some of the main things that you guys would teach at the school and make sure that they have these principles down before they go?
So I just going back, I think a lot of what's happening in Brazil is that you mentioned at the start, it's my family line. So my great grandfather, he came over, and he started the very first church in the Northeast as a pastor, and it was very difficult because it was very Catholic. They burnt his Bibles, they attacked his house. Went back to England, and then for the rest of his life, he spent 22 times bringing missionaries from England to Brazil in a boat. 22 times bringing missionaries. From
Are you
England.
serious?
Serious.
I have a hard time getting on a plane to go to Brazil.
I know. I reckon it took probably about 3 months in the boat. So do that 22 times.
22 trips or like 22
Trips.
boat rides?
No, 22 times from England to Brazil.
So it's 3 months there, 3 months back. 6 months times 22.
Do the maths.
That's 11 years on a boat.
Yeah.
What? 11 years of his life just
Bringing
traveling.
Bringing missionaries from England to Brazil. And
that's insane.
yeah. And he had the worst, like,
That's just on a boat. We're not talking about the work that he did.
yeah, no. So the rest of his life, once he started, like, he knew the biggest need was to get missionaries into Brazil. And that's what God called him to do.
Wow.
And he grew up, like, his parents died, both were dead by the time he was 8. He was orphaned, came out of school. He actually lost one of his legs. I always tell the story because he's got a letter that I saw that Hudson Taylor wrote to him because they're both from Brighton.
Seriously?
So Hudson Taylor went over to China, and my great-grandfather came to Brazil. And he actually came because there was one missionary that came before him, and within 2 days he died of malaria in Brazil. And he goes, I'm going to replace that one. But no one would send him because he only had one leg. He had an accident when he was 12 years old. And so
Hold on. He did this whole thing with one leg?
Yeah.
The entire time?
So I either had crutches or when he was a bit wheelchair. And so all the missions organizations, like, we're not sending you. Like, you got one leg. Like, you stay home, do the pews in the church. And the final one, he goes, please send me, my heart's burning for Brazil. Look at him and goes, I'm sorry, one leg, we're not sending you. And he gets up on his chip, stands up. He goes, maybe I only have one leg, but I don't see many people with two legs going.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go with my one leg. And he went.
Golly, what a general.
Yeah. And it's like, we're so good at looking at excuses why not to go. But when you have that fire, that passion, like, nothing can stop you. And I always feel like my story is to do the reverse now.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
three
yeah.
generations later, it's time to get the Brazilians out.
Yeah.
And so there is sort of a legality. There's like a generational thing through my family line.
Yeah.
That, and we see that the Brazilians are being sent out.
I don't quote me on this, but I think it's the second largest mission sending nation in the world after America right now, currently.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
America, South Korea, Brazil. I think Brazil's just moved from third to second.
And I think it's about to move from second to first.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if these guys watching this, I have a long history with Brazil. I have nothing like your grandfather. I think 55, 60 trips that I've been going to Brazil since I was 17. Love Brazil. Watched the nation change so drastically in the last 25 years for the advance of the gospel. So we were at the Send, 3 stadiums one day, a mission sending thing. We're about to do it again in January. 5 stadiums, I think, is the plan, with the purpose of sending out missionaries. And you've been plugging away for years, sending out people. What is it about Brazil and what God's doing in Brazil that you think is so crucial for the globe right now?
I think each nation carries a real aspect of God's heart and character. I think Brazilian, like in heaven, the Brazilians, there'll be a fight between the Brazilians and the Africans to be on the front row, like just leading the worship. Is it John Piper that says missions exist because worship doesn't? So Brazil has this thing of just radical, passionate worship. And that's what the nations needs, this fire. We sent out a couple from Brazil to England, and they're seeing people getting saved on the streets all the time. And it's just because they've got this fire, this burning in them. And so I think God set it up, like everyone loves Brazilians. A lot of it's to do with the football. Like you go anywhere, like Bruno goes to Nepal, and you have a T-shirt on Brazil, like, oh, Brazil, Ronaldo, Neymar. And so the nations are inclined to love this nation because they think, oh, carnival, football, like let's export Brazil. But the people as well. And I think the key is, like Brazilians have so much intensity, but we need to improve their consistency. And there's this place where God has poured out so much in Brazil, but it needs to overflow into a missions movement rather than just conferences and selling CDs.
But Andrew, it is. Like, like it's going to surpass America in the next 5 years.
It is. And if you see, like, wherever you go, you'll see Brazilian missionary. But the funding, like the churches still aren't behind them. Funding-wise. Like, our missionaries, 25 of them. Like, in Iris, Brazil, we have, like, 9, 10 bases. 95%, 100 missionaries, they're all, like, Brazilian. Ask them how they pay the bills each week. No one knows, because the Brazilian church don't support them. So we're doing all this even when the mindset that the church in England and America has of just like, let's support missions even if it's outside our denomination. So there's a shift that needs to happen in the mindset of the church in Brazil. But despite that, like God is raising up, sending out people that love him more than their own lives and are willing just to go, take him on his word. And it happens. And we're seeing that families leaving Fortaleza with kids and everything, going to Thailand, North Thailand, and all these different places, and
Yeah.
living amongst the unreached. And it's beautiful because 12 years ago when Iris Fortaleza started, we were in a small room, like dreaming about this.
Yeah.
In years, we'll be amongst the unreached, and years we'll be there. And now we're actually seeing it. But I do believe it's just the start.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
Yeah. You and I, as well as many others, worked on getting like a very standard curriculum, simplified standard curriculum for Iris. And I remember we spent how much, dude, honestly, like no joke, how long did we work on this? Years?
Yeah.
On and off, right? My wife got sick in the middle of it, so we took a pause, picked it back up. As you and I and the team went through, like, okay, how do you take a missions movement that's full of the Spirit, right? Saying, being willing to lay their life down for the sake of the gospel, and put that into something that people can read and try to get the foundations from teachings. But everything I hear you saying is heart, right? Like you got the call when the Lord touched you in the scripture, and you came out to Brazil, had these power encounters. We ran into a lot of like tensions, right? I will never forget the moment we had spent, I think 5-6 days in my house, in my little office when we first moved out to Tennessee. And we got through the end of day 5 or something like that. And we were like, but if our families fall apart, it's all for nothing. And it was almost like we just started, ripped the whole 5 days apart and said, we have to focus on families. As you have spent years of your life working with YWAM, working with Iris, doing stuff on your own, having this generational history, if you could boil down like the most condensed version of what you would ask anyone who's watching this, like just have this in order to go, of course, a deep love for Jesus. And I don't want to skip over that. But what are some other things? You talked about intimacy, falling in love with him. But what are some other things you see necessary?
Like basically, like with the harvest schools and what we want to release, it is sort of the 5 values of Iris. Mm-hmm. But then we sort of divided it into like intimacy, where it all flows from, then identity, and then belonging, and then destiny. So intimacy is that like you hear him, you see him, you love him, you're willing to give your life for him because he's so beautiful. But then we need to talk about identity, because everything we do comes from a place of identity. It's not striving, it's not trying to get attention, it's not like we're better than you, my ministry. It's like, no, we're so loved sons. And that's our identity. And we want missionaries who have identity of who they are.
Okay.
So they're not striving to produce something to make themselves like, no, they are. And then from that place of identity, you're not just a one-child family. You're part of a bigger family.
Yeah.
And this thing of community and belonging, and like, because missions used to be very geographical focused. I'm called to Japan, I'm called to North Korea, like, but we're seeing it's like, no, what's the tribe, what's the family that you're called to?
Yeah.
That you want to run with. And the biggest thing I think we have in Fortaleza is this place where people just do life together. And it's iron on iron, and it's the one another's. And it's the discipleship where you form yourself, become more like Christ, and you give your life for the dreams of one another. And that's what the world's dying for. They want to see a genuine community of people that loves each other and has a purpose in life. And then the final thing is like your destiny, what God called you to do and how to do it.
I love that you said it's the final, because that's usually the first thing that people
in mission
believe
schools,
in.
it's all like, that's how you preach the gospel, that's how you do this. Right. And that's the overflow. Like, that is so important, obviously.
Of course.
But if you haven't got intimacy, identity, and this community, self-regulating community of radical love for one another, Like you can't do anything on your own.
Mm.
And then we go into like, okay, this is how you preach the gospel, this is how you cast out demons, this is how you make disciples, and that's all important. But it comes from that strong basis of those first three. So that's where we sort of try and build, as we build our missionaries, like intimacy, identity, belonging, community, in and out of that place. Let's actually, change the world. Some people don't like that phrase, but it's got to have some external input where we turn this world upside down.
Yeah. Talk to me about finance and missions. I think, if it's okay. Yeah. I think a lot of people, their greatest fear is how will I be provided for, right? Yeah. You've worked with different organizations that all have their different models. Some teach and train how to ask for money. Others, let's Iris, like we don't put as much of a value on that as well. We don't, even though I don't have a problem with it. Talk to me about your journey of missions and finance, because I think of course, fear of death is a big reason why people don't go. Fear of something happening to me, the unknown. But then I think very quickly on that list is like, how am I going to provide for my family?
Yeah, I mean, I always teach that provision comes once you've got the vision. And sometimes we focus so much on provision, and it sounds so simplistic, but once you have God's vision, he will provide and pay the bills for that. And so a lot of it is getting that bit right. What is God putting on your heart and calling you to do? What is the vision? Because then in pro of that vision, the provision will come. He will provide. And it all comes down to the revelation of trust in the good Father. And it makes it sound so, but that's what it is. It's like his eyes are on us. And I've seen provision, and if we try and wait till the provision comes before we do it, we'll never be doing it. But if you hear his voice, and that's why we need to live in dependency on him. And it's so no one likes that. We want to be in control, and we don't realize how many of our decisions are made by how much money we have in the bank account.
All the time.
Yeah, which shows that we listen more. We live by sight. We listen more to what money says than what God is saying.
Yeah.
And it's counterintuitive. And so I can't explain the finance. I just know that we've seen miracle after miracle of the provision of God for my own family. And I used to have I still do, poverty mentality. Like the biggest story that messed me up, because I'll tell this one.
Sure.
This is a good one for missions, because this just shows me where I was and still am. But my wife helps me so much.
Yeah.
She really does. Because years ago, my kids were small, like 5, 6, 7. We lived in a small apartment block. And there's 2 other families in this apartment block that had kids. And they were, like in December, one of the families was going to go to Disneyland. In January, the other family was going to go to Disneyland. So my kids' best friends were all going to Disneyland. And so obviously my kids were like, Dad, we want to go to Disneyland. And my wife, like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland. And I was like, no, like we're missionaries. We work with poor people. Like be stupid. And my wife, we had a big argument. And she, if it was a conference, you'd go. Because it's Disneyland, like, you're not going to go. I said, no, we're not. Like, we haven't got the money. And even if we did, I wouldn't spend it on that, because, like, what would people think?
Okay, talk about that for a second.
Like, people, yeah. I mean, I would feel like people are giving us money to help the poor and kids that have nothing. And then they'll see an Instagram where going around in Disneyland.
This is a massive fear that most missionaries live by.
Yeah.
When you're being supported by people and that finance is going to the poor, the sick, the needy, and the broken, right? many, unless there's like a donor that goes like, hey, I want you to do this with your family. Like they come and they sow into that. Most missionaries, that at least that I know, struggle.
Yeah.
And they're scared to go and have fun. Because if the donors find out, then they're going to pull back.
Yeah. And I've had stories of missionaries that people have seen them, like a couple in Thailand, like they saw pictures of their house and they wrote to them like, your house is really good. Like what's happening?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. And so, but others, I got some that like just love to bless us as a family. But it's something in me, but it's also something like, I can get it.
Yeah.
If you're working in missions in the favelas and you see you're in Disneyland. So this was like December, January time. This was, and then in the end of December, there was a conference in Sao Paulo with Heidi. We all went as a family. It was one of the very first Iris Brazil ones. And after one of the main sessions, we were in a small room. There was like about 20 of us, and we were on the floor sitting down, and she was in the middle with her Bible open, doing what she does. Like I think it was Isaiah 58. Like true fasting is give your life to the poor, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. And she was going through each verse, just like reading it and then ministering it, reading it and ministering. And she was going, and if you give your life to the poor. And then she said this, but if God says to go to Disneyland, don't be stupid and think, your father hasn't got money to bless you and the other kids. And if you think that if you're not there feeding the poor, then they're going to starve because it's not all about that. And she just went off. And then she went back. And after, thankfully my wife wasn't in the room. And after I went up to her, I said, Heidi, like, thank you for talking about Disney. And I told her the story. And she was like, wow, thank you, because I didn't have a clue what I was talking about Disneyland. And it just like, it hit me so hard that God is such a good father. And I had such a poverty mindset, like, I can't go to Disney because if I do, what's going to happen to the poor? And if I spend that money on Disney, there won't be enough money to help that. And it just shot all that out. And I confessed to Cloud, you're right. Like, I've got such a small mindset. And God delights in, he's got enough money. And that's some of the mindsets that we need to break in my life. And I still have that inclination, the poverty mindset.
I think a lot of missionaries do.
And it's good to have that fear to steward money well. I think we need that. But God is so much bigger, so much more generous. He's a good father. And he has got actually enough money to bless you as a family. And the poor doesn't depend on me and my ministry. It depends on God.
Can I share a quick story on that? I got convicted of this because my wife and I were good friends with the Van Holes. They were living in China. Go out there. We had been sewing, I don't know, $200 a month from time to time when we would have it for years. And they invited us to come out to China. So we travel out there. We go to China. And we get picked up at the airport. And Mike goes, God's told us to take in dogs. Like street dogs. I'm like, what? We send money for you to take. They were taking care of like 80-something special needs kids. And as soon as I heard them say that, like, potentially this, minuscule donation was going to take care of like the nastiest street dogs, I got something inside of me got so upset. Like, I don't want my money going to this. And so fast forward, we land at the base after airport. He's like, can I show you these cages that we got? And I'm like, I don't want to see this. And I'm literally flying out there to be with my family, to go spend time with their kids and their family and see their incredible work. They'd been giving their lives in obedience, never asking for a single thing, giving their lives in obedience to the Lord. Taking in 80 special needs, like incredibly handicapped kids, and that were surviving because of them, right? So every so often a missionary that were there for a week would come and be like, we're going to get puppies and we're going to get these dogs. And it was just like getting under my skin. Mike and Dina take us out on a day trip. We go shopping, and we have an incredible meal, come home. And one of the missionaries was just like, we got a phone call. We're getting our first dogs. And Dina looked at me. She's like, hey, you want to come? I was like, I'd love to. Have you heard this before?
No.
Yeah, I said, I'd love to. Only because I was jet lagged. And I knew if I went back to my room, I was going to sleep and it was going to throw me up. That's the only reason I went. And so we drive out to the middle of nowhere and we show up to like a slum. It was awful. And this guy must have been like 80 something years old, comes like hobbling out, looking to every aspect like homeless. And he's like, they start talking and Dina's explaining what they're saying. And there's this missionary girl and she's so excited that they're getting these dogs. And we walk around this corner and like they're in this horrific cage, like fenced in, not a cage, but there was fenced. Like, are these two white dogs, tiny little dogs that were just matted, covered in filth and just disgusting. Like, in my heart of hearts, I was like, let's just take these things around to the back of the house and put them out of their misery. And this guy's like, here's my dogs, and will you take these dogs? And he just starts weeping. He was so grateful, right? And I'm like, this is nuts. Like, these things should be like put down. And Dina goes, why are you getting rid of your dogs? And you could tell like this was breaking this man's heart. Why are you taking these dogs? Like, why are you getting rid of these dogs? He's like, oh, well, we're getting kicked out of our houses. And she's like, what? Who's getting kicked out of their house? And there was like this community of like houses, run down, awful, like favela / Mozambique, awful. We're getting kicked out. The government's taking this land over. And she goes, well, why are you here? She goes, he goes, we're this old folks home. And there's these two like people that come and they take care of us, but the government's taking the land. And Dina goes, no. And she goes, what's going to happen to you? She goes, well, we're going to just survive. We're going to live homeless. And Dina goes, no, you're coming home with me. And we go around from room to room. I think it was maybe 12 or 15, like 80s, 70s, blind, deaf. And she went around from room to room to room and just sat down with them and said, you're coming home with me. And they just started weeping. She goes, I have 80 grandchildren for you. And they need a grandma and they need a grandpa. Wow. And we go around and she says, I've been praying to start an old folks home. Like, I've been praying for this. And we get, after it's all, and I'm just bawling this entire time. Like 2-3 hours we're there, going from house to house to house of squalor. Like, and she goes, you're coming home with me. We get in the car and she looks at me and she goes, I told you God wanted me to take in dogs. And I looked at it and I felt so convicted, right, over this, and it was a money thing. It wasn't that they wanted to help, or like in my heart, I was like, that's dumb. But they were obedient to what the Lord told them. And what I learned about from them was, one, how much I connect finance with like good works and finance and what is good fruit, right? And I was judging it. But like now, all these years later, a trip to Disneyland, and we don't even need to justify with this, but a trip to Disneyland can save marriages, can save kids that are sowing their lives, like that are giving their lives away without their permission, right? It's time with mom and dad. And we put such a financial value, like this kid is worth this $1 a day or whatever it is. But we can't, and missionaries are like, but I don't deserve that, or I can't get that. And what I love is obedience, right? Like Heidi was obedient to give that word about Disneyland. And because God knew that you needed that broken off. There's such a danger with finance. There's a danger on each side of the spectrum. But I love your obedience, man, and how the Lord just does it. He does it. But this thing needs to get broken off the church. It needs to get broken off of missionaries. At the end of the day, all he's looking for is obedience. Yeah.
That's it.
I was there when you got given the largest gift that you had ever been given financially. And it took place within like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't really remember how long you were talking with this guy. But he turns around and he says, I'm going to give you a check. And it was a very large check. And I just watch you drop to your knees and weep. Because like you would live off that for a year, right? I don't know, 2 years? I don't even know.
Yeah.
And that's how God does it. We make finance into such a big deal. I don't know. I'm drithering on, but I love this journey of obedience.
Yeah.
And man, I just
what money is one of the best things to keep you dependent on God. Because when you have money, like even in mission bases, like few seasons, but if there is a season where we've got a little bit of money in the bank, it's so much easier just to make decisions.
Yeah.
Without asking God.
Yeah.
But when you have no money, you got to pray and depend on Him and His voice for everything.
Yeah.
So, like for a lot of our Brazilian missionaries, I don't want to give them salary, like I will, because that's stealing away the privilege and opportunity for them to live this supernatural life of dependence on Him, hearing His voice, and then the provision. And I think one of the biggest things that keeps us dependent on God in missions is a lack of money, like keeping money. Like we don't want money to be scarce, but do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Like, when you don't have it, you can't just make decisions of like good ideas, what you think you should do, what you want to do, because you got to wait for Him, and like, God, what is your plan in this situation? Like we haven't got anything, and He will speak, and then you obey, and He provides, and it's a beautiful way to keep us really dependent on Him, and that's one of the values of Iris. And the second one, it's not we haven't a thing be dependent on miracles, but it's be dependent on God and expect miracles. And that dependency on God, the biggest way you can live in dependency on God is the area of finance.
Yeah, it's so crucial. Finance it is so crucial. The amount of decisions we make around finance. And what I love is I know that I'm not building it in my strength. Right? When the finance comes in, it's like I don't have to worry whether God's on that or not. The finance comes in the moment we need it. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing exactly what the Lord is calling us to. But it is the first thing when there is just an abundance of finance. I see people they start planning and building around the number. Jesus loves, in the multiplication of loaves and fishes, you see, how much money will it take to buy, how much money we need to feed all of these people, right? I'm paraphrasing. And they say, 8 months' wages wouldn't buy enough for each one to have a bite. The disciple replies. And what I love is Jesus asks him a financial question. And the disciple responds, finance. And he wasn't wrong. Yeah. He wasn't wrong, like factually accurate. And it says Andrew Simon Peter's brother, stood up, like he interjected and said, here's a boy with 5 loaves, 2 fish, but how far will they go among so many? And Jesus is like, that's perfect. And it said before that Jesus asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was about to do. So he knew that he was going to take the loaves and fish. I think that's a lot of times Jesus asks us these questions and we go, well, I need A, B, and C, right? I need X amount to go do this. I need $5,000 a month to go into the missions field, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he's not looking for that. He's looking for, here's something, but how far will it go? Like, God, here's my heart. Here's an option, but I don't know how it's going to happen. And Jesus goes, take it. Yeah. I'll take that. I'll break it. and I'll bless it. And I'll use it to feed the multitudes. And there's more left over, right? At the end, there's more left over. I love that. I love that life of obedience. Come on. So, can people visit your base?
Yes. Just, yeah. I mean, we have a school coming up in September, the Harvest School in Fortaleza.
Yep.
September, October, November. It's sort of 2 months, just over 2 month school. And that's where you're just immersed in community, in God's presence, and then lots of outreach as well. Because you can't train someone without giving them the practicals of it.
Yeah. What does outreach look like?
So we work mainly in the slums, in the favelas, and the red light districts. So basically it's going out and seeing the work we do. We go into the drug dens, the darkest and the craziest places you'll ever go. And that's where the light of Jesus shines the best. So Fortaleza is a beautiful city. It's right on the coast. It's got beautiful beaches, but it's in one of the poorest states. So there's contrast. I think in the UN list of world cities, it's number 4 for the highest level of inequality in the world.
Wow.
So
Seriously?
Yeah. So you have the rich and the poor of the poor. And that is breeding ground for injustice. And the foundation of God's kingdom is justice. And so we want to build God's kingdom in Fortaleza. The foundation is not good. Like the church, you can do as many conferences as you want while Satan's there tapping away at the foundation of injustice.
You've brought up conferences twice. You have. What's your issue with conferences?
No
What's this tension around conferences?
I mean, because I think in Fortaleza, but like if many churches are doing many conferences.
We just did a conference.
Yeah.
Literally 5 days ago.
They're wonderful.
Okay, so talk to me about this tension. Because I know you don't have a problem with them.
No. Even church, I'd say church, like every corner in Fortaleza is a church. Is that good? Is God's kingdom advancing if every corner is a church? Question.
I don't know how to answer. I would say yes,
Yeah.
in some capacities, right? Especially 100 years ago where that was not the case.
So it's on one side it's amazing. Like I remember going to one church on Sunday evening. You have to go through this big road that cuts one of the biggest favelas in Brazil, cuts through it, Pirambu. And I was counting at Sunday evening. You could see the churches in four blocks. I counted 12 churches.
Right. Same as Tennessee.
Yeah.
Literally. You'll
And so
pass
that's
by
like
10 churches.
Revival. But then what happens? When you look at Fortaleza, the level is the top 10 of what cities that's got highest level of violence.
Mm-hmm.
You see the number of churches are exponentially increasing, but the level of prostitution, drugs, violence is increasing.
Okay.
So there's something that's wrong.
What's wrong?
Either this doesn't work, this is a fraud, and like it's all beautiful, but it hasn't got power to change society or city, or what we are multiplying, planting, isn't what this talks about. It's a man's kingdom, and there's lots of churches. So if churches increase on every corner, the kingdom of light is increasing, the kingdom of darkness should be decreasing. And so my personal opinion isn't that there's a problem with this book. It's actually that we're not doing what this book tells us to do.
Right.
And it's the most simplicity, like even Matthew 25, like on the big and great day, Jesus on his throne, and he draws all the nations before him. And this is actually quite scary. It says he separates out to the right and the left, the sheep and the lamb, the goats. And he says, you on the right, blessed of he who comes to my kingdom, because I was naked and you clothed me, I was hungry and you. And they were like, what? Like it's not a works based, because they didn't even know they're doing it for Jesus. They were doing it out of a heart of love and fruit. But there's this practical love that the world is waiting for. And that, it doesn't say blessed are you because you had 100 conferences or you got. No, it's just basic. Like if you love someone, love looks like saying you care for them.
Mm.
And if we have that revelation and we want to get close to Jesus, like people come to conferences because they want to get close to Jesus.
Yeah.
What's the best way of getting close to someone? It's like, I'll give you a cup of water. And that's how close you get. And knowing you're doing it for Jesus. And so conferences aren't bad. There's this phrase that says like, what happens in Las Vegas must stay in Las Vegas. And what I usually say is like, what happens in a conference or what happens on the mountain can't stay in the mountain. It's got to come out. And so last week the conference was amazing. And I love it and I want more like that.
Right.
But the key is what happened in that conference can't stay there.
Yeah.
It's got to go out on the streets and look very practical. And so, yeah, it's
that tension, right?
It's that tension.
Yeah. And I think like anything else, we can become consumers, right?
Yeah.
And we have a consumer culture. I'm giving you your cup back I think it's empty though.
It is now.
We become consumers, right? And what I think I hear you saying is conferences can become a fix, or it's abdicating the responsibility of what we're learning to go.
And even Amos 5, God says, I hate your assemblies. I hate your music. Take it away from me. I can't stand it. And that's a God of love.
Mm.
I hate your offerings. I hate your harps and your lyres and your singing. All I want, all I desire is streams of living water to be released and justice to go to the streets. And I sometimes imagine like we're here, we're praising, we're worshiping, but outside, imagine your son or your daughter was getting abused or beaten.
Mm.
And we're just like, oh, we love you, Jesus, so much. Like, shut up and go and sort out the problem. And so there is a shift that needs to happen where we actually just live out the simple Christianity. When John the Baptist, he was preaching, like, repent and produce fruit in repentance. And they're
Right.
like, they all came to him, what should we do? What should we do?
Mm-hmm.
If you've got 2 tunics, give 1.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a simple justice, love in action, Christianity that we can all do. You don't need to be an impressive prophet or
Right.
preacher. And activating the people in love to see people in need and being a response to them. And that's what I desire so much for Brazil, for the nations.
Andrew, I love you so much. You're the best. You're the best.
Mm.
And I put up with the fact that you're British, but that's okay.
That's good, man.
No, I love you, dude. I love you, your family.
Mm.
Just to have you in as a friend is incredible. And we just spent 8 days together. Yeah. And I heard just the most beautiful testimony last night from our friend. And you just being the boldest man in the room. And it marked him 3 years later. 3 years later, he said, like, that's what he clung to. You know, that he called it the baptism of fire that came upon him when you prayed for him. And then has gone through years of chaos. And he's like, that it was that moment. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You're a carrier of his love, of course, but his fire and his passion. And anytime I get around you, it is infectious. And so it's everybody else that I know. So I want people to go to this school. If the dates line up, go. Go and get trained up by this man and Bruno and the team. They are just gold. They're pure gold. And it's been so much fun just to get to know you even more and run with you, Andrew Fanstone. How can people get in touch?
Instagram probably easiest. Just my name, Andrew Fanstone.
Okay. What about the base and
base is Iris Fortaleza.
Mm-hmm. Spelled well. We'll put it down.
Down. Iris Fortaleza, and so at the, like Bruno and Carol, his wife.
Yeah.
They're the ones that
Gold.
lead it, make it all happen. And there's, like, I'm not really involved, which is beautiful because I've handed everything over and they do it so much better. And God's really moving at the moment. There's a hungry bunch of missionaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting in touch with Bruno
Yeah.
and Carol.
You guys just opened up a coffee shop,
Yeah.
which is miraculous provision. It's a dream that you guys have had
Yeah.
to reach the community.
Yeah, so it's in a nice area of the city.
Yep.
It's one of those things like if we planned it and worked hard to make it happen, it
Right.
would not even half as good as it is now, it would be able to happen.
Yeah.
But when God comes and in one moment, he provides. And it's going to be a place of training for people coming out of the streets, a place of giving them jobs, and a place to be a business that raises money as well.
Yeah. It's
It's
awesome.
amazing. God's moving.
Listen, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure, mate.
I know that these people are going to love this and love you. You can come to Fortaleza. You can visit the base. You got to go through the process. You can't just show up, but
Yeah.
reach out to these guys. Come to the school. Come to Harvest School. And Andrew, you travel and speak at most of our Harvest schools, like globally, right?
Yeah.
So sooner or later, if you're in our Iris little atmosphere, you're gonna bump into Andrew. Yeah, dude. Is there anything in the base in Fortaleza that you guys are believing for right now?
I think just that's the fresh off the press, the coffee shop. That's
Yeah.
what it's just dropped in to our laps. I think one thing that we've been going out after for a long time is land to do a training place.
For a long
So
time.
we always rent places to do the school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just think what we carry, this sort of collision of the presence of God, of community, and then radical going out,
Yeah.
is a model that, because when we send out people, we don't want to just send out couples. We want to send out sort of these communities that host the presence
Yeah.
and heal the broken.
Come on.
So yeah, that's something that we always pray for.
Land, buildings, like a training center.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've been believing that for a long time with you guys.
yeah.
Andrew, you're incredible. Listen, anything you want to say? You want to look down the barrel, say anything to anybody?
No, just be still enough to hear his voice. And even if it doesn't make sense, which it doesn't usually, obey it, and you will see the greatest adventure of your life, which is running with him. And yeah, just keep your eyes on him. Don't let your attention and your affections be swayed to the left or the right, and run with a group of people around you. Don't be a lone ranger. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you somewhere around in this beautiful world.
Andrew Fanstone, I love you, sir.
Good. Thank
Listen,
you.
guys, hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, especially if you watch the Green Room and you came to our conference that we just did. This is, what month is this? May?
Yes.
So it was the end of June. No, end of July. No, end of April. Gosh, my brain is so cooked.
Tired, man.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Dude, I wanted to sit down and just chat with you. It's worth it. And to have you out here. I love it. Love you guys. We'll catch you in the next episode of the Iris Global Green Room.
Let's do
Peace.
it. Peace out. Pleasure, mate.